three.
Hello, I'd like to welcome everyone to the Board of Directors meeting for the Hidden Valley Lake Association. This is the regular board meeting scheduled for May 28th. This is our 5th virtual meeting. So we start each meeting with the call to order and the Pledge of Allegiance. So we can have our flag. There we go. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So once again, we are all at our homes calling in. So Robin, can you do the roll call?
Sure. Bruce Rushiers.
Present.
Diane Wiley-Dowers.
Present.
Edith Lynn.
Present.
Sue Story.
Present.
Ted Long.
Present.
Tim Darnell.
Present.
All present.
Okay, thank you. And we also have our general manager and I believe Kim Smith on staff as well with us today. So, okay. The first item is normally our member comments, where the board wants to hear comments from our members on our policies, programs, and services. But in our new virtual world, we're not able to get together. So General Manager Murphy, have you received any email comments from the members?
I have not.
Okay. We'll move ahead with our agenda. The first item is the approval of the agenda. Does anyone have any changes for the agenda tonight? Okay, not hearing any. We'll go ahead into our, we have a rather light agenda. Hopefully we'll get through fairly quickly tonight. So let's start. Then to start and getting through quickly, the President's report. I don't have a prepared report tonight. I have to confess that I've been a little bit in the doldrums this week. I've been pretty good about COVID-19 overall, stay in place, but this week was my 1 week's Yosemite reservation to Yosemite, my annual trip, and the last few days I should have been camping on the shore of the Merced River, looking up at Half Dome. So I look forward, I think everybody else does, when we can all meet again together, and I'm happy to see the opening up of things. I totally understand the need to get outside. I saw at our lake last weekend, we had a great turnout, maybe too many people, but again, I understand their need to get outside, and just look forward to our future as things begin to open up, and as the board hopefully will soon be able to meet face to face. I know the supervisors have been talking about doing that for their meetings, so hopefully we can soon. So that's basically all I have today. We'll go on. The next report is Treasurer's report. Treasurer Story, do we have anything today? Do you have a report?
Yes, I do. Randy,
okay,
can you
put
it up for me? So the
Well,
balance sheet previous year comparison, with the revision of the 2018 audit, due to the changes in the revenue ruling, the balance sheet reflects the movement of owner's equity fund, replacement to the contract liabilities. This change was agreed upon by the finance committee members, our auditor, and our oversight CPA firm. Thanks, Randy. Next. Okay, and then I'm just gonna just skim over this. So under assessments, we have bad debt, worst to date by $35,000. Under general operations, our legal fees for $14,000 over budget. Insurance costs were $11,000 over budget, not to budget. Under admin, title transfer fees were worst to budget. But you have to remember on a lot of these that the employee costs are lower due to the COVID pandemic. Under EC, environmental control, $6,000 in fees, better. than budget for EC code violations and road impact fees. Under security, admin, and patrol, $22,000 better than for budget for rules violation. Fleet maintenance, we had to do some unexpected repairs on a couple of our cruisers, so it's $22,431. General maintenance, we're better than budget just because of the timing of the contract. So, like our sheep and whatnot, we pay them. We don't pay them all up front. Under Lake Marina, general maintenance cost was down because of the employees not working. Stables, renter income is off $9,000 because of lack of boarders. Anybody know anyone who'd like to board their horses? Campground rental space income down due to our county closures. Common areas, the general maintenance cost was down with employees off for COVID-19. Under events, all of our events were non-existent because of the COVID. Pool operations, general maintenance cost was down because of the employees off. Food and beverage, income year to date, we're better by 135,000 and 102 just in April, 102,000 just in April. Golf operations, income year to date, we're better, 29,000, 27,000 just in April. Golf maintenance, total golf course, supplies, costs were better to date by 12,000 thanks to Billy Witt. He knows when to order our supplies and when the merchandisers are going to have their specials, and he orders them accordingly. We have awesome employees. Thank you, Billy. Water cost was worse to budget, 9,000. And I'd like to let everyone know that our operating budget, we were better than budget by $9,930 year to date. We have made our first and second quarter reserve contributions for 2020, and we've paid the reserve back for the Clark judgment loan.
Wow.
That's it.
Great.
Okay, no, thank you. Very good. I didn't quite, the food and beverage you went over kind of quick. You said we were ahead?
Yeah. Let me go back. Food and beverage. No, we're worse. We're worse by 135 and 102 just in April. The supplies, we were better.
That's income. That's on income.
Yes.
Okay. So I guess I was reading across and it has the revenue, expenses, and the net. So
Yes,
for food and
we are
beverage, so it looks like basically for April that we were under by 30,000 in April. Does that sound right?
That is correct.
Well, 27,000, but yeah, yes. Oh, I'm looking at.
Mine says
sorry about that. I'm sorry.
844.
Yeah, yep.
Okay. And then the other thing you mentioned about the assessments being down a little bit, when you look just at the month, it looks like the assessments for April actually are above budget. Maybe Kim could speak to that.
Yes. Remember
Is that correct? Yes. Okay.
That's the
So we were worried about a lot of people, or some people maybe not being able to pay their assessments because of COVID-related hardships. But it looks like we actually brought in more in assessments in April than we had budgeted for.
Yeah.
So, and then also
Sorry. Go ahead.
I thought Kim was, and the other side of that, it looked like we have 30 more, I think it was 30 more homes that are now getting into delinquent stages. I was just interested in how we're doing relative to COVID, and you mentioned a lot of it about the restaurant and the staffing and all that. I was just trying to get a greater sense.
Well, it's my understanding that we have a large percentage of people that prepay yearly, and so it's my opinion that I don't know if Kim, I haven't talked to Kim about this, but I think it'll be reflective next year to find out where we're going to be. But we have a large percentage of people that prepay their assessments on a yearly basis. So I don't know that that'll be reflective this year, but next year it might. Kim, what say
No.
you?
Well, Bruce, one thing I need to point out on assessments, the revenue is the amount billed, not necessarily the amount received. So that's maybe a little bit misleading.
Okay, well, that brings up other questions, but I'll save that.
Yeah.
So, okay, any other directors have any questions of our treasurer about her report?
No.
Oh, okay, not hearing any. We'll move right along. Thank you, Sue. That was a great report. Secretary's report. We have some summaries of some recent executive sessions.
Yes, we have two. There's a summary for the emergency executive session on May the 6th. The meeting was called to order at 4:31. All directors were present. GM Murphy, Tim Smith, accounting manager, and Robert Owen, CPA, were also present. The purpose of the meeting was to go over the PPP grant with input from legal, Tim Smith and Robert Owen, CPA. It was unanimous that directors Brashear and Story would be signing the authorization to submit documents for final approval. The meeting was adjourned at 5:17. Then you want the next one right now?
Sure, go right ahead.
Okay, summary for executive session May the 9th. Meeting was called to order at 9:05 a.m. All directors were present. The board approved the executive session draft minutes for April 23, 2020. Member issues. The board discussed 3 member issues. Formation of contracts. Prior to open session, the board reviewed 2 board action requests. Personnel issue. The board discussed 1 issue. Legal issue. The board discussed 3 legal issues and was updated on the cost for the recall and Cindy Spears lawsuit. To date, Cindy Spears lawsuit has costs are $18,000, not including staff time. The recall costs to date are $22,000, not including staff time. The meeting was adjourned at 10:40 a.m. Next meeting is today at 6:30. That's it.
Okay, very good. Thank you for your report. Next item is staff report. General Manager Murphy, the floor is yours.
Otherwise known as the Godfather. Couple things. Food and beverage. So we have, due to the fact that we accepted the Small Business Administration loan that should become a grant, we did expand the hours. We are now open for lunch. We also had alcohol beverage control said we can start serving alcohol on premise. We are still attempting to find out, because we've gotten conflicting reports from different offices, attempting to find out whether or not you need to purchase food in order to be able to consume alcohol or purchase alcohol. We are taking the most conservative approach and saying, yes, you have to purchase food, and we are limiting the number of alcoholic beverages that can be purchased by a single individual to 2. And the purpose for that is we don't want to mess up our ABC licensing until we get definitive response. And we are looking for an answer in writing since we've had conflicting reports. Events obviously are still canceled. Budget numbers look good, as was pointed out. We're just about $10,000 better than budget through April. So that's a good sign. Security is still going full force. We have, through the COVID and the shelter in place, relaxed enforcement on several quality of life type of citations. That's going to change as we continue to increase the opening of different things. Essentially, beginning next week, it's not going to be as drastic necessarily as it was before, but it'll be more enforcement than it has been for things. So speeding, running stop signs, those kinds of things are going to be starting to be enforced more consistently. As far as the pool goes, I made inquiry of the county public health officer, and he said that even though other areas are opening, he's following the state recommendation, and our county pools will remain closed until phase 3 protocols are initiated by the state. So as of right now, that hasn't happened. I'm hearing some conversation about relaxing it more, but I haven't seen anything official. Everybody, I think, has seen the road paving or slurry sealing that's going on. That the roads that will be slurry sealed, those were finally completed today. The striping will commence, I believe, tomorrow. So they're the roads that's for the season. We went around with an engineer a few months ago and determined the roads that could best use this treatment. And next year there'll be a list of other roads. So, and the striping will, like I said, happen soon. The intent is to get some glass beads in the paint so that it's more reflective in the dark. Tree A+ has begun work and already removed several dead trees and other things. So that's going to continue for the next few weeks. Sediment removal, we're still working on through that. We actually will have a meeting with 3 prospective contractors next week on site. So that's looking good. The Hardman building, I met on the phone or on Zoom with county planning and our architects yesterday. We're very close to resubmitting those plans. A reminder about the lake is a no-wake lake. We've had some issues with people with larger boats, or at least larger engines, and making unnecessary wake. Security is looking out for those, and so some of those folks will be getting citations for their bad behavior. We are working on presenting some drone rules to the board. We've had some reports of people with drones flying them inappropriately and harassing wildlife. So unfortunately, we've got to come up with some rules to try and stop that. And hopefully everybody's seen the signs, our assessment dollar, your assessment dollars at work, building our future. We've put those out, highlighting some of the projects that are being done. Tennis courts are being resurfaced. We will also be striping them for pickleball, which is kind of a version of tennis with a bigger ball. And I've seen people play. It looks like a lot of fun. I've never played it myself, but we will have lines on the court now for pickleball as well. So that's all I've got for now.
Okay, once again, a lot going on. See, I had a question or two I was going to ask you. You mentioned about the lake and the no wake. But do we have any special provisions for security at our lake for this year coming up? I know that in the past we've had extra money or extra assignments of security at the lake. You know right off if we have anything like that?
We talked about it during the budget process about budgeting for somebody to spend some time actually on the lake. My recollection was that was removed from the budget, but I've inquired of Charles and Tom to see if maybe we can figure out a way to make it happen anyway.
Okay, and yeah, I think they said that it's not as efficient to actually be on the lake, but they could do it from the shore. So maybe if we could have more of a presence on the shore, but something to look into. And then this is our 5th virtual meeting. How's it been going for the committees? Have they been having virtual meetings now?
We've had a few more virtual meetings. Obviously, the Covenants Committee has met. I think it'll be their 3rd time coming up here next week. We had Food and Beverage and Safety and Security Committee meetings last week. And Commons Committee doesn't have a quorum, so it's kind of difficult to do that. I'm working with Steve D'Agostini to get a Lake Committee meeting next Wednesday. We are publishing the information ahead of time so that members can listen in and or participate. Oh, and the Finance Committee met as well, so virtually.
Okay,
And
so most of them are,
EC
Oh, yeah.
has been meeting as well.
Right,
Yeah.
right. I forgot about that one.
by phone or through a group share thing for EC?
Yeah, they met by phone most recently.
Yeah, they're by phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, those are, I think, my questions. Any of the other directors have any questions for the GM?
Yes, I have
Yeah,
one
so
question.
Randy, go ahead, Kim.
Go ahead, Sue.
No, go ahead.
My question is regarding the pool. Is there any way that we can line up the county inspector to do a pool inspection before it actually gets to stage 3 and we can get open so it can be open at that time?
We've called several times. They're not returning calls.
Okay. I'm done. Go ahead, Sue.
Okay, Randy, when I watched their meeting and they said that they're doing soft openings, so they're starting to have staff gradually come back to work now. So you might want to wait till maybe the end of next week and call. I bet you they'll have most of their employees back to work by then. My
Yeah.
question was about security and wondering. I don't understand how. Well, Russ isn't here to answer it, so I guess I'm talking to myself because we've always had in the past we've had somebody on a boat, out there on our boat, monitoring it, and so they're gonna have a bullhorn, or I don't understand how it would be more. How it would be better to have somebody on the shore.
Well, it would.
I'll ask
I think they said they could move around much to get from one side of the lake. From the lake takes quite a while to putt around, I guess. Where when they're going, I don't know. You have to ask Russ though, but that's what my assumption was.
Okay, and then the weed abatement. Did Elizabeth give you any figures for weed abatement, Randy?
I do not have any information. No.
Okay, I'm chipping is what I really was interested in. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
thank you.
That information was provided at the safety and security meeting last week, and I don't have anything
Yeah.
updated.
Okay.
So speaking of the weed eating and all, we're getting in that season again, and I know the sheep have been here, and I've seen RGW working. How are we doing with that? And how are we doing in terms of our enforcement? You talked about security and the quality of life type things. Is ECC preparing for the season ahead?
Yes. One of the staff was one of the laid off members, and so they're coming back to work on Monday, and we will start to see more of them in the field and getting those things. Obviously, we're primarily complaint driven on enforcement related things, except for weed abatement. We go out and actively look for those, but many of the complaints or many of the enforcement issues are complaint driven. So I actually just got 2 of them earlier today that I forwarded on to them. So we'll start to see that enforcement stepped up as well.
Okay, good. Okay, any other last questions for Randy? We'll go ahead and move ahead. Good report, thank you. Next item is the consent agenda. And we have five items. Would anyone like to remove an item from the consent agenda or make a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a first and a second, and today in the consent agenda we have a resolution to record liens, actually 2 resolutions to record liens, the approval of the minutes from the regular board meeting on May 9th. We have the approval of the 2020 first quarter financials and the approval of the April 30th financials, which we were just discussing. So, Robin, can you call the roll?
Sure. Diane Wiley Bowers,
Yes.
Edith Lynn,
Yes.
Sue Story,
Yes.
Ted Long,
Yes.
Kim Darnell,
Yes.
Bruce Bashir.
Yes.
The motion is approved.
Okay, the consent agenda is approved. The next item is the committee and liaison reports. And this week in our packets, we have the Food and Beverage Committee minutes from February the 18th, the Building Oversight and Advisory Committee minutes from April 29th, and the Safety and Security Committee minutes of March the 10th for the board's information. And then this is also the time if any of the liaisons want to make a report or a statement about their committee, the time to do it. Anyone want to make a report?
No,
Okay, not
no,
hearing. We just heard about how they're meeting virtually, so that's good. Next item is a committee appointment. It's to appoint Ken Densmore as chairperson to the Safety and Security Committee. And normally we would just take a vote at it. So I guess, Robin, you want to just call the roll?
Yes. Bruce Bashir,
Yes.
Diane Wiley Bowers,
yes.
Edith Lynn,
Yes.
Sue Story,
Yes.
Ted Long,
Yes.
Kim Darnell.
Yes. Gets him out of my hair for an evening.
Ken Dinsmore has been appointed as chairperson to the Safety and Security Committee by voice vote.
Congratulations,
Okay,
Ken.
good.
Yes, great. Good deal.
Also, while we're on this, just for the housekeeping, the prior chair, Lee Tennickett, I believe resigned, and I don't know that we've ever received anything or put it into our minutes. So we might want to double check that. So, but I want to thank him for his brief service, but I think we need to put it into the minutes there just for housekeeping. Okay, moving along, the next item is an old business item to adopt a resolution for member communications policy. General Manager Murphy, you want to introduce this one?
Yeah, so we made a run at this at the last meeting, and conversation got around to, since the board president is in the member in this policy is the primary spokesperson for the board, there was some concern about, like, during election cycles, that would allow other board members to have conversations. So we added number 8 to the policy, which says, notwithstanding provisions of this policy, within 90 days prior to the date of a meeting at which an election is to be held, the board members may individually communicate with the membership and or post on social media pages regarding the election, subject to limitations regarding use of association funds for campaign purposes. So basically, that that says they can communicate via social media or other methods. They just can't use association media or funds to do so. And that language was provided by our attorney. Nothing unique or special about the current situation. This was just something that was determined to be a need going forward. So that's what I have to say right now.
Okay, and I see you have it on the screen there, so I was going to say that we should read it, but it looks like you've got it up there to give those viewing an idea of what it entails. So would one of the directors want to make a motion to adopt the member communication policy?
I'll make a motion to adopt the member communication policy.
And I'll second it.
Well said. Okay, a second. Was there a second I just heard?
Yeah, that was me. Sue.
Okay. Good. So we have a motion and a second to adopt Board Resolution 2020-12, Member Communication Policy. And we'll have a little discussion. Director Long, any comments?
No comment.
Okay. Director Story?
No comment.
Director Darnell?
I think that by adding number 8, it is good for everyone going forward. I think that if you are in an election and you want to rerun, you should be able to post stuff on social media. So I think it's good for all. That's all.
Okay. Director Wiley Bowers?
Yes, I agree with Kim, and I thought about it when it first came out, and I'm glad we put this in because I think it's very important. Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Director Lentz?
I agree wholeheartedly.
Okay. And my comment, it's something I've been looking for us to bring forward. When I first came on the board, they already had something similar to this about how communications would work with the board and with the members. So it's good to have it. I think it'll improve communication going forward, and it's who responds under what circumstances. So I think that's good too. So, okay. Robin, can you call the roll?
Diane Wiley Bowers,
Yes.
Edith Lynn,
Yes.
Sue Story,
Yes.
Ted Long,
Yes.
Kim Darnell,
Yes.
Bruce Gutierrez.
Yes.
The motion is approved.
Okay, great. Next item is our new business, and we have none. I think as things start opening up and again and all, we'll start having a little more things to discuss, but that's fine. Next is member comments. Again, Gia Murphy, do we have anybody send anything in during the meeting?
I still have no emails to my email address, which is gm@hvla.com. It's at the top of the agenda. It's been published that way for a while. I have not received any comments for tonight's meeting.
Okay, well, everybody's taking care of other things tonight, maybe. Okay. Okay, well, with that, I'll thank everybody for participating, and we'll adjourn the meeting at 7:03. So, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.